Welcome. I'm always doing a little dance when I hear that intro. It just kind of sets the tone for our Winners Wednesday. I am very excited at one of our, not only one of our special guests, but also one of our newest agents of our EXP family. He's absolutely phenomenal, as you guys are going to see during this interview today, Mr. Jason Monterroso. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Mike. I appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you. And okay, so we were talking about kind of rolling the R's. So say your last name the
Yeah,
correct
so
way.
so usually I say Monterroso, but the real way is Monterroso.
Oh yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
I can't do
So some
that.
people can roll the R, some can't, which is fine, but one or the other, they both work for me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know that you're super busy, so I appreciate you taking time and kind of sharing your nuggets, your experience. You know, you've done a lot of great things in such a short amount of time in real estate, and also no doubt that you've just gotten started. So we're excited to see where you're going to go. But with that said, Jason, let's so you're here in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Like I said, you just joined EXP Realty, but let's kind of take it a step back and just give your history of, I love your story of how you got into real estate and how it's been going so far for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dive into that. So it goes back. I mean, honestly, my father was always in the construction business, so I grew up around the housing industry a lot. Had my days where I loved it and I didn't love it, right? When you're working as a younger kid, sometimes don't want to be out there, but as you grow older, you go to appreciate all that,
Mhm.
and all the work from the start to bottom. And it's just the housing industry is great in that aspect. But the way I really got into it was I was actually in school in Portland, Oregon. I think it was my sophomore year of college, and my teacher sitting up there, and she quickly mentions that there's a potential internship for commercial real estate. And everyone sat there and no one even listened to what she said but me, I think. And so I immediately talked to her afterwards, and I asked her for all the information, and I sent the people an email to see what I could do to join. Their name was Capacity Commercial in the middle of Portland. And super nervous feeling. I had always heard about the real estate industry. I thought it was always super cutthroat, what you see on the movies and shows. But I met a great gentleman named Mark Childs. And from the moment he met me, he welcomed me in, and he showed me the ins and outs of the business. And it was commercial specifically. And so it was super awesome to see all those, industrial buildings, those huge Amazon facilities, all around the Portland area, meeting clients, phone calls, meetings. I mean, I fell in love with it. And he had me do the anything from like the, not so fun work to the really fun work. And so I fell in love with it there. I ended up transferring from Portland to a school here, Southern Nazarene University, to finish up my last 2 years. And I actually lived right by what was my old brokerage, McGraw. And I would drive by that office every day to go to school. And I would see JT Brown's sign of like, hey, call me if you're interested in real estate classes. And so I would drive by that all the time. And I knew it wasn't until I graduated that I for sure wanted to pull the trigger on it all. But as soon as I remember it was my senior year, March 23rd, my birthday. I was sitting in the car with my mom, and I was still unsure on what I was going to do after I graduated. And she looked at me and she said, "You just need to call this guy and see what he's about." And I said, "Screw it." I gave him a phone call while my mom was sitting there, and he was just super nice, welcoming guy, even over the phone. And so as soon as I got off the phone with him, I was like, yeah, I have to go in there. So went in there, met JT, and I was all in. And so then from there, I just graduated my senior year, and I got straight into my licensing. I think it took me a month of me going every single day into the bullpen and studying every day until I passed it. And I passed it on my first try. Luckily, I was a little nervous. I wasn't, but got it done, and I kicked it off just last year in August was kind of really my official start in real estate.
That's great. And I really love that you shared that story, Jason, because you mentioned your mom and dad, which I think is absolutely incredible and how kind of pivotal they are in some of the decisions that you've made. But also it's such an inspiration maybe for some young entrepreneurs like yourself that are like, okay, I just graduated. What do I do next? Right.
Yeah.
I know, myself, I got licensed when I was 22. So um, I don't know how old you are, but I think probably.
Yeah, that was the same age actually. I got licensed when I was 22.
There you go. There you go. So it's definitely possible, and especially in an industry where, a lot of people have done it as either as a part-time job or as a second job, or they're kind of retiring and want something different to do. So I think it's great to share your story that you can do it as a young entrepreneur right out of school, and more importantly, be incredibly successful at it. So I think that's definitely going to inspire others that maybe are at that crossroads of what they want to do. So Jason, you mentioned like your dedication and being in the bullpen every single day until you
Yeah.
pass, which, by the way, passing on your first try is phenomenal. Um, but what would you say, just getting licensed last year in August, so we're just a little over a year, what would you say has been really the key to your success?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the bullpen. It was just consistency of showing up every day,
Mhm.
and that just leads on to everything else afterwards. I'm huge. Some people like working from home, some from the office, but I'm a huge office guy. And JT could vouch to this. I show up every day. If I'm not in the office, I'm hopefully doing something with clients, but I'm in there trying to grind it out as much as I can. And once I enter the office, it's just that I know that I have to go in there to get stuff done. And so showing up consistently, I think there's huge opportunities too when you're within a group of people that are same goals as you are. I would go in there and opportunities would come up, whether it was open houses, leads, people coming into the office, whatever it was that was happening, classes, all of that, education. I mean, if you show up to the office, you either be educated or you'll get stuff done with clients or phone calls, emails, whatever it may be. So I think that was one big thing for me, was just consistency of just showing up.
I love that consistency of just showing up. That's incredible because I think a lot of people, there is a big misconception. You get licensed and you think that just buyers and sellers are going to fall from the sky, and then you get in and number one,
That's what we
it's
wish. Yeah,
exactly right. It's not a hobby. It's a very expensive hobby if that. So
it is.
you've got to get in there and be dedicated, and then also really good guidance and mentorship. So I want to kind of highlight that you talked about JT Brown.
Yeah,
He was the broker at your former brokerage. He's now one of our newest managing brokers here at
yeah.
EXP. So, kind of talk about that transition a little bit with, I know you were very happy at your previous company, but you have decided to now partner with JT and the organization that he's creating at EXP.
Yeah, if I were to say anything, and I say this to anyone who wants to get in the business, and I know a lot of people can vouch to it who have been in the business, is that mentorship is huge. Having someone there to guide you and mentor you through this is very much needed. This business can, if they're you're gonna fail, but it's better to have someone there to help you. Pick yourself up, know what to do. We're dealing with contracts, we're dealing with people. We sometimes don't know much about that when you're obviously first in the business. So having someone there to guide you, not only in business though, but JT outside of business has been um, father figure type as well. He's always been there for me from the beginning. I've learned a lot from him through his mistakes and his wins, and so I that's what drives me to um, want to do more, is just because I've seen what he's been able to do, and I think just having someone that you can look up to in this sort of business helps out a ton. And not only with JT, but that's another thing about EXP is that I see it with you. I see it with Hamudi. I see it with a lot of Peter, whatever who it may be. You see where they're at, and you're like, that's where I want to be, and they're doing it here. I can do it too.
Absolutely. I think that's incredibly important. So there's such a great opportunity, to get a mentor in this industry. I think, for the most part, a lot of us that have been in the industry a long time, willing to share. And somebody like JT, not only just share from a production standpoint, but like you said, he's got the experience of being a
Yeah.
team leader, being a producer, being a broker owner, being a managing broker, even. So, just kind of that diverse, atmosphere. So let's talk about, you mentioned going into the bullpen and really being a part of that office environment. Now with EXP, obviously we're a cloud-based brokerage.
Right.
What has that transition been like, and how can you still get that mentorship?
Yeah, it's definitely different, I would say, but not in a bad way. I think that there's still, no matter what, a ton of support within the cloud as well. I've noticed, going on through my onboarding process, you get overwhelmed with a lot of new emails, information, right, and all that.
Right.
But the awesome thing is that I'm just a click away from being able to communicate with anyone immediately, right? So there's that access to help in any way. And I've noticed that, if I have any questions, I go in there, I get it answered. But I think another huge part is just, somewhat growing a relationship with these new four brokers that we have, to sometimes, they have offices for the most part, is, getting to know them. And if anything, you know, putting a face to them, I think that's huge, is putting a face to everyone. And so, we have that sort of support. Luckily, I have JT, who I usually go into an office space and see him all the time. Um, but yeah, it's been a transition, but there's still support and help, which is good.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I know, JT's got an office here locally as well. So,
Yeah.
well, great. So let's kind of, pivot a little bit in terms of, you've been a single agent thus far, like I said, very successful in production. And I know what some of your goals are, but I'd love to kind of share them with everyone. But before we get into your future goals, more immediately, you've already started having conversations, looking to build your own team and organization, and really start helping other real estate agents do the same thing. So, kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I do think, it's been talks about it for a little bit now, and I think I knew from the beginning it was something that I wanted to do. And there's not always a right timing to things, right? Sometimes I think, well, is it a little too early? But why not start now with it? But yeah, I think one of my goals is at some point, hopefully, have a group of agents that, are not just only a team, but, family to me. And that's why it's super important to find the right people that I surround myself, or that I want to bring in, is that I know that there will be, a lot of love, loyalty, and more than anything, patience, right? Because this business can be a little difficult. Um, but yeah, JT and I've had multiple conversations, of starting something. It's great to have a guy like him who has had his own brokerage. He's led teams before. So just learning from that, I know this will take a while. It won't happen overnight. But yeah, I've already started the process of trying to get some people on board. Um, I'm looking for guys and gals that are kind of somewhat new to the industry as well. Obviously, I'm not a seasoned agent to be able to bring someone who's obviously done much more than me, but sure, I can bring people who are new to the business that I can at least help get started on just learning the game, and maybe getting their first contract in, or whatever it may be. I could be there to help them out. And so I would for sure say EXP supports that big time too, to create your own entity and your own team, with your own personality and all that. And I think that's huge. You see it within Oklahoma, and you see it all over the world, with EXP. So I'm excited for that, the support there. I really like that. It's another big thing that drew me there. And so um, my plan, hopefully, with that is to get, not the biggest group of agents, right? But for sure the strongest and more knowledgeable one, even if it's a small amount of people.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned the word family and patience. I think those are all amazing things, because you're right. It's not just about recruiting agents, it's about helping them be successful and really
Yeah,
creating an environment where they feel safe and feel like they can thrive.
absolutely. We're in this business to, further on our legacy, to help out. I do this because I want to help my family out. I do this because I want to help out my future family out. and just set them up as best as I can. And real estate is one way. And if I can do that, why not help others that have the same goals with that?
Absolutely, 100%. And I would encourage you, Jason, you mentioned not being quite a seasoned agent yet, don't discount everything that you've already done. You've been incredibly successful. And more importantly, you have the partnerships of people that are seasoned, if you will, and experienced, JT, myself, and others. And so, I think the cool thing about this concept in this company is you're not alone. And that's going to be for the same for the people that you partner with.
I agree. I know I got a whole army behind me helping me out. So
I love it. So, speaking of, let's talk about your 5-year plan. Let's talk about your future goals. I know it's anything from, increasing your production, building a team. I think even investing, if I remember correctly. So,
yeah.
where are we going to see Jason in the next few years?
Yeah, that's it's always good to have those 5 to 10 years. I think it's super important. But what I've learned with life is that things can change in ways that you may not want, and in ways that you do. But my hopes for sure are within the next 5 years. I obviously want to increase production as much as I can. Um, I do. I would love to, have a group of maybe within the next 5 years, 20 to 30 agents maybe within me at that point, 20 probably. And then, within the 10 years, hopefully have, oh, wow, 10 years from now is quite a bit. So you'd hope I'd have quite a bit of agents by then. But like I said, it's never about, the quantity, but the quality of agents, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I see, when I first got into this business, I went to the Real Producers. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've heard of them and all that.
Yes.
And I was invited, and I sat there, and I know I have told myself one of my goals is to, win one of those awards up there. I think it's a super cool organization, and they show the great agents that there are here in Oklahoma. And that's definitely one of my goals, is to be in there. Um, but more than anything, obviously produce a ton, but I really just want to help people. I want to, if I can improve my business, I can show others how to do it, and I'm backing myself up with it, right? Because if I'm not doing good, then, who am I to say, okay, yeah, do what I do, right? So I just want to I want to have a successful business, with honesty, being tenacious, just, this business, you can really guide people the wrong way if you don't do it right. And I think that I want to be that person that guides them the right way, and more than anything, have a good and respectful reputation within the next 5, 10 years for sure. I want my name to be known here in Oklahoma.
I love it. And no doubt that that's going to happen. So you're already making a name for yourself and you've only just begun. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where you are in the next 5 to 10 years and how many, how much of an impact that you're going to make on other people's lives, clients and agents be alike. So, Jason, for agents that are watching this, whether it be in Oklahoma or, frankly, across the globe, and they'd love to learn from you, they'd love to partner with you in your organization. What is the best way for agents to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I have my social medias that are always open, and if you go on there, you can always shoot me a DM. Be more than happy to put my number out there. But yeah, I think social media, that's the great thing about it, is that anyone from anywhere can access me with it. Um, but like I said, I want the right people here with me, and I know they're out there, and I just got to find them. And I'm a strong believer in God, and I think that paths will cross with the right people, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, we take over.
Absolutely, no doubt. I love that. You've mentioned your family, you've mentioned your faith, and you're very goal driven. So, Jason, that's one of the many reasons why we're excited to welcome you into our EXP family and really witness the growth that you're going to have. So, thank you so much for sharing all this with everyone.
No, thank you. This is super cool. I'm excited. I'm glad to finally kind of hopefully meet some new people within EXP, and get to knowing and working with people here.
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. We're definitely going to be planning something very soon. So, Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate you taking your time to join us today.
Absolutely. I'll see you later, Mike. I look forward to a good meal at your new place.
Oh, you got it. You're coming to the soft opening.
I will. Okay. Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason. Bye.
Bye bye.